If you wrote a book and you want to narrate it, this episode's for you. Welcome to the Pharmacist's Voice podcast, where we talk about pharmacy topics and careers, including writing books. I am your host, Ohio pharmacist Kim Newlove. This is episode 347, and the show notes are available at thepharmacistvoice.com. Today, I'm sharing 10 audiobook narration tips for authors. If you are a pharmacist who's written a book and you want to narrate it yourself, this episode's for you. Over the last 6 years, I have learned a ton about audiobook narration. I have trained in nonfiction audiobook narration with Sean Pratt. He's my coach. I learned audio engineering skills from Don Barnes and his Facebook group. I picked up tips and tricks from fellow narrators, whether it's through our accountability conversations, meetups, webinars, or online communities. I've learned a lot from my fellow narrators. I've also gained hands on experience by auditioning and narrating books. I also wrote and narrated my own book. I'm going to put a plug in for it real quick here. It's called Pharmacist Podcaster, a podcast planning guide for pharmacy professionals. You can find it on Amazon. It's available in print, ebook, and audiobook, of course. And then one last thing that I'd like to mention is that I have worked with Julie Walthers, an experienced audio engineer. She has helped me meet Audible's technical requirements every time. I have never worked with another audio engineer on audiobooks. Julie's the one for me. After all that, I have now flipped the script. For the past 2 years, I have been helping authors create their own audiobooks. Now, at first, I only worked with pharmacists, but this year I branched out and I supported my first non pharmacist author. It went so well that I now welcome authors from other healthcare backgrounds too. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an author who needs help with your audiobook, I can help you too. First, let me walk you through my 10 audiobook narration tips, and then I'll explain how you can work with me. If you have already grabbed my tip sheet from kimnewlove.com/narration, this is just the audio version. And if you want all these tips in writing, head over to kimnewlove.com/narration and click the Get the Tip Sheet button, and you can sign up for that today. Let's get started. These are 10 audiobook narration tips for authors. I originally labeled this as pharmacist authors on my website, kimnewlove.com/narration, but I'm pretty confident that any author could use these. Let's get to tip number one. Confirm you own the rights to the audiobook before you get started. Once upon a time, I had a client, a pharmacist author, whose publisher owned the audiobook rights. So we had to get the publisher involved in the audiobook. If you don't know who owns the rights to your audiobook, find out. Tip number two, if you want to narrate the book yourself, get some training. Get some training so you sound conversational and relaxed. You don't want to sound like you're reading, even if you are reading. As an alternative, you could hire a voice actor to narrate the book for you. Tip number three, practice. Practice and find a pace that you can keep up with for a long stretch like 60 to 90 minutes. Pace is important. You find your pace when you practice. Tip number four, vocal stamina varies from person to person. I would recommend you narrate no more than 90 minutes per day. Again, vocal stamina varies. Tip number five, take breaks, breathe, drink some water, and sit quietly as needed. Taking breaks is important. Tip number six, visit narratorsroadmap.com and look at the list of sections to record. Then make yourself a production checklist. It will start with the opening credits and end with the closing credits. Having a plan is a best practice. Create a production checklist. Tip number seven, prepare your manuscript before recording. Note how you will say difficult to pronounce names and words, lists, contractions, punctuation, and more before you record. Now, I am reading these off of the tip sheet, so it may sound a little stiff, but let me just break that down for you. There will be words, even in things that you have written, that you don't know how to pronounce. There may be a name and you know it by looking at it, but you call the person by their first name. You've never had to say their name. So double check with the person or watch a YouTube video where they pronounce their own name. Look up any words that you don't know how to pronounce. For example, drug names. That's one of my favorite things to pronounce. Look at lists. There may be something that is numbered, or maybe there's just bullet points. And when you come to the last one, you might need to include the word or, so the listener understands that you're coming to the end of a list. Or you may include the word and. There may be contractions, right? You will be reading something and it says you are, but the conversational way to say it is your. So you need to be clear on when you're going to say you are or your. And then punctuation is important, especially the slash symbol. That one always gets me. I have to check with authors. Am I going to say him slash her? Am I going to say him or her? What is the meaning of this slash? Make sure you check before you press record. When you are narrating your own content, you may have to stop and think, do I want to say the word slash? Or do I want to say and? Or do I want to say the word or? Think about it before you record. Tip number 8, find a recording studio and hire an engineer. If you are a pharmacist, which is my niche here, I know how important your time is. I know how scarce your time is. Don't spend all of your time learning audio engineering and how to use a microphone. And let me tell you, if you do it wrong, you'll have to do it all over again. So be advised, find a recording studio and hire an engineer. Check out the studio in person. Does it smell okay? Do musicians use it too? Has somebody been smoking weed in there? I'm not joking. Sometimes these things happen. Go inside, see how you feel about it, see how it smells. How's the lighting? Do you feel claustrophobic in the booth? Do you feel comfortable there? Hopefully, you feel comfortable there and it smells fine, but check it out in person. Something may look great in a picture, but when you go there, it feels different. And then you get to talk to the engineer who's going to record your book. Do they have experience recording audiobooks using something called punch and roll? For example, you may say something incorrectly and not realize it until they are doing the editing. Can they punch into that recording and roll over the mistake? That's a great question. Also, can they meet the audiobook platform's specifications? That's super important. And also, do they fit in your budget? You may have calculated that you have a 5-hour audiobook. Let me tell you, it's not going to take you 5 hours to narrate that book. So you need to figure out realistically how long is it actually going to take and does that amount of time fit in your budget? I know a lot of people want to just buy a microphone and learn how to do audio engineering, and they think they're going to do it for cheap. But like they say in that Venn diagram, you can have it good, you can have it fast, or you can have it cheap. Pick two, the third isn't going to happen. If you want it good and you want it fast, it's not going to be cheap. And the last part of this tip number 8 is, can they meet your deadline? If you have a deadline in mind, make sure the studio is available and the engineer is available to record, edit, and produce your audiobook. That does it for tip number 8, which was find a recording studio and hire an engineer. That's a very important tip. Moving on to tip number 9. Mistakes happen, but they can be fixed. It's called a pickup. Plan to record each sentence that contains a mistake again. Your audio engineer will insert those corrections into the final product. I have audiobook narrator friends who have done 300 pickups because they didn't check the pronunciation of something or an acronym. They spoke it instead of spelling it out. Things happen. So if it happens to the pros, it will happen to you too. Mistakes happen and they can be fixed. And tip number 10, hire a consultant like me to hold your hand or coach you, however you want to say it. Whether you want to narrate it yourself or hire a voice actor, I can help. I can tell you what you need to know so you can get the job done right. That's it for my 10 audiobook narration tips. You got a lot of bonus content by listening to this podcast episode instead of reading the tip sheet, which you can download from kimnewlove.com/narration. I put in a lot of bonus information in this episode, and I will put in one more piece of bonus material right now. Just since you're listening to this podcast episode, let me just tell you that you need to set your expectations. Audiobooks take days, not hours, to complete. Your goal should be making a 5-star audiobook. Give a 5-star performance. Realistic planning is key. So set your expectations and set your goal to be a 5-star performance. If you hire an audio engineer and a coach, your project will get done. It will sound the best that it's going to sound, and you just might get that 5-star review. That's it for my tips, even the bonus ones. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Congratulations on writing your book, and good luck with your audiobook. If I can write and narrate a book, you can too. If you would like to explore more podcast episodes about audiobook narration on this podcast, the Pharmacist's Voice podcast, check out episodes 293, 255, 222, 190, 109, and 83. If I said that too fast, you're in luck. I have linked them all in the show notes in your podcast player's description section. And they're also in the show notes on thepharmacistsvoice.com. During the introduction, I mentioned that I'd let you know how to work with me. If you would like to work with me one on one, use my scheduling link, which is in the show notes. I charge $75 for a 30-minute coaching session. Many of the authors that I work with walk away with a solid plan in 30 minutes. Plus, I provide a Zoom recording of our call so you can rewatch it. If you feel overwhelmed, you're normal. Learning something new can feel overwhelming, like drinking from a fire hose. I've been there. But I'll make sure to leave you with a clear plan that you can actually use. That's all I've got for you today. This has been the Pharmacist's Voice podcast, episode 347. Visit thepharmacistvoice.com to read the show notes. In the show notes, you'll find links to my tip sheet, narrator's roadmap, the website for my audio engineer, Julie Walters, other episodes of this podcast about audiobook narration, my social media links, and more. If you know someone who's writing a book and wants to narrate it, share this episode with them. You could really help them. And if you like this podcast, come on back, subscribe to or follow the Pharmacist's Voice podcast on your favorite podcast player and YouTube to get each new episode right when it comes out. Thanks so much for listening today. Good luck with your audiobook, and I'll talk to you next Friday.